Alright, so you're starting another gun review for Verdun. This time we are doing the Gewehr 98. Gewehr 98's, like the Lebel, is one of the first weapons in the game. It's a long-range, slow kind of rifle. Slow bolt, because the Car 98, Carbiner 98, is the faster version. Yeah, it's the carbine version. Even though they both have the same bolt, the only difference is the Car 98 is shorter and has a bent bolt handle. No difference in the bolt. So yeah. It's was the German service rifle from 1898 through 1935s and 1935, and also used by the Volkssturm later into World War II. Because the Volkssturm was basically, we're going to lose everybody who can hold a gun. Here's a gun. They were giving them everything in World War II, but we're not about World War II. We're about World War One. So, it's 5-round magazine. It has can feed through stripper clips if you fire all 5 rounds. It's pretty fast loading. It's very accurate. It has very little bullet drop, as you can see from that first kill I got all the way across the map in the background. One thing I also noticed, you'll see in the video in the background, if I can talk for I don't know how long, like 20 some minutes. The gun has very good hipfire accuracy. I don't know why, but I find this gun, this is one of my favorite guns in the game. Why? I don't know. I just really like it. This and well, my favorite in the game is the 3-shot Musqueton birthday air. I like that one. I like this one. I like the 1970 Enfield, even though people hate that one. This one and the 1970 Enfield because of the sights. But speaking about the sights, a lot of people hate them because they're really awkward with the 2 giant posts on the side and then like a little kind of stub in the middle, which, you know, I find it fine. I enjoy like obstructive kind of sights, and this one was the first really obstructive sights in the game before the Enfield came in. Or no, the Lewis. This one was complained about, then the Lewis gun was complained about. Then 1917 Enfield and the Bar. Those are the next 2 being complained about. But I don't know. I do really good with guns with very obstructive sights because it kind of makes me focus a lot more. Yeah, like I look straight, so yeah. I'm like with the Lebel, I kind of feel like I'm looking more around than not as focused as much, because the Lebel basically has, for all intents and purposes, there's no sights. It's just kind of the barrel with a little dot at the end. I guess you could say the trench gun's like that also because it uses a bead sight. But yeah, what else about the Gewehr? Came with a long history of Mauser rifles. It uses a Mauser bolt, the most popular bolt in the world, because it's very strong. It might not be as fast as the Lee Enfield. It might not be, as cheap to make as a Mosin. It might not be as smooth as a Swiss, I forget, straight pull. But, ooh, sorry about that, I had a hiccup. I tried holding it in. Yeah, it fires 8mm Mauser. It's like I said before, it has a slower bolt, or your guy does the animation slower than the Car 98. That's how you differentiate. That's how they differentiate between this and the carbine versions. And there's also more bullet drop on the carbine version. You can put a bayonet on it. I think there's also a sniper scope in one of the classes for it. I don't like sniper scopes. Honestly, iron sights is better. Just like the White Death in World War One or World War Two. If you don't know who the White Death is in World War Two, he's a Finnish soldier who was sniping like crazy. Killed a crazy amount of people with a Mosin, and sniped a crazy amount of people with the Mosin. He only used iron sights because he said he didn't like scopes. Which, I don't like scopes either. I don't know. I just do better with irons. It's like red dots. I don't get red dots either. Red dots, holographics, no. I'll use sometimes. but I do better generally with iron sights. The more obstruction, the better. Like the Ross's iron sights, they're weird. But yeah, back to the Gewehr 98. What else? It's pretty good. It's a very good rifle for. I find it good for both close and long range. I mean, I love using it at close range because it has amazing hipfire accuracy, and you're gonna, if I can talk long enough for the video, you're gonna see me pull off some pretty good shots up close and pretty lucky ones. And because I'm gonna talk more about the game sort of in the background. I can't see, so I don't know what exactly is going on because I'm recording this and then I have to match up the audio to the game. So yeah, it's very good hip fire. It like the way you do, the way when you go into a trench, don't run. Don't ever run when you're in a trench with this gun, because well, Verdun has like a problem. I find like there's a couple problems with the Verdun. Let me talk about those too, especially with especially relevant with this gun, because whenever you run, there's like a delay between when your guy stops running and when you can shoot, and that's long enough to get you killed. You're gonna see a couple times in the background footage where it just looks like I don't shoot. And there's another problem with Verdun in that sometimes you'll click, but if you die, like it would be like two people click the button at the same time. One dies, one doesn't. The game doesn't decide. The game like decides who wins or who loses, even though, you know, maybe you clicked before. It's a very weird problem with Verdun. Like another problem is there's like input lag. There's a tiny bit of input lag that's so, like, to the regular person you would never notice input lag. To someone who's been playing games or FPS games for a really long time, like I have, I was in a couple of clans for Call of Duty. I played tons of Call of Duty, and well, yeah, this game's not too much different than Call of Duty. Honestly, like you're like, what? This isn't like Call of Duty. Not the new crappy Call of Duties. The old ones, like Call of Duty 1, 2, and 3, like, and World at War, when COD 4 and World at War. After that, Call of Duty went downhill. Especially, MW2 was the start of Call of Duty going downhill. The start, like, it's still, MW2 had some, they tried to bring it back with, I felt it was brought back a little with Black Ops, because that's before all the, because the reason I say MW2 was the start of the Call of Duty breakdown is because, that's when quickscoping was added. That's when quickscoping, all the MLG stuff, and then just keep getting worse from there. Now it's just, you know, it's basically just MLG crap, you know. But yeah, like when this game first came out on Steam, because it was out before, there's a web browser version somewhere. I think it's on Congregate. You can go play like a really old version of this game on Congregate. It's just a Unity web browser game. Isn't it amazing how far they come from a Unity web browser game to this? And it's only like maybe 2 or 3 guys working on it. But yeah, yeah, the reason I say this game's a little bit like Call of Duty is because when it first came out, all I played was Rifle Deathmatch, and Rifle Deathmatch is basically just free for all on small maps, and the controls are almost exactly like, at that time there was no bullet drop, there was no suppression, there was no anything, and there was you cancel your reload with melee, which they don't let you do that anymore. I don't know if I'll get to talk over it in the video, but you can't. There'll be a couple times when I'll be reloading and you can't stab when you're reloading. Like it got me killed so many times. I mean, in different games, it's like because I have a melee link to the scroll wheel, but like I press on the scroll wheel and it melees, which, you know, lets me I can do everything basically with one finger. With like the more stuff I can do with my right hand, the better, because you know my left hand, I don't know if you guys notice, it's kind of messed up. So yeah, back to Gewehr 98. Uh, it's kind of a weird rifle. It's weird in that I don't really know its place because I guess it's versus the Lebel, in the long range category, but I find it to be a much better close range gun. Like, I find it to be actually a little bit better than the Kar 98 because of its hip fire accuracy. And whenever I'm going to talk about how I hip fire like so fast if we're going to see that in the video, but basically, here's how I do it. I've learned this from Call of Duty. Sorry talking about Call of Duty so much, but honestly, if you're good at that, if you're good at Call of Duty, you're gonna be okay here. At older Call of Duties, not the newer ones. You're pretty crappy here. But move the mouse with your eyes. That's all I'm gonna say. Is when you're going through a trench, especially with these slower rifles, and you can't really shoot as many shots, react as much. Move the mouse with your eyes. This way, you don't have to aim. Because if you know where your eyes are pointing, and you know that you've been moving your the controller with, or not the controller. I guess if you are using a controller, if you know that you're moving the gun with your eyes, then you know exactly where the gun's gonna point. It's wherever you're looking. It's called point shooting. It's a real life thing. We'll go over. That's how I feel the Gewehr 98 should be played. It's kind of like a point shooting gun, I find. Point shooting is also known as target or threat force focus shooting. Instinctive aiming, instinctive firing, and instinctive shooting. Method of shooting a firearm quickly and accurately does not rely on the use of sights in close quarters. Life-threatening situations. God dang it. Where was I? Life-threatening situations where the greatest chance of being killed. There you go. Yeah, it's point shooting. Basically, move the gun with your eyes. It's a very good tactic in close quarters, and that's where I'm good at. I'm not good at the long range kind of combat that like Zab is. Like Zab is an excellent guy at long range, but I can do really good at up close. Like if I get in the trench, I can probably clear that trench. But I have a real hard problem getting to the trench, and that's relevant in the background footage. 'Cause, it's like I was doing really good at the beginning, and then I just kind of crapped out whenever we need to run across no man's land. Sometimes I'm good, like in no man's land, but other times, if you have a couple confident players, and you have a crappy team like I did, team was pretty crappy. They didn't know when to get in the trench. It's like, just get in the trench, That's what you gotta do. Just get in. Yeah. Gewehr 98. The model looks really good of the Gewehr 98, I think. I don't have any problems with it. It looks like a Gewehr 98. I think the wood could be a little bit lighter, according to this Wikipedia picture I'm looking at. I'm not sure what a Gewehr 98 cost in real life. Let's see. I know I really want a Lebel rifle. Any Lebel, either the regular Lebel or the Lebel carbine that was cut down after the war. Try and modernize it, I guess, but that didn't work. It just made it worse. Still kind of want it. That's a Gewehr 98 19 Bavarian. No reserve. $600 he's asking. $600 for a Bavarian Gewehr 98. That leads me on to another thing. I'm looking on Gunbroker, but a lot of people complain that it's only Germany versus England, France, America, Canada, and Belgium. But people have to realize that the German Empire was a collection of different German states. So they're kind of like a collection of little German countries, like Bavaria. I think Prussia. There's a whole bunch of other stuff. Yeah, but it's not that much of a problem. I mean, they have enough squads and enough people. The only map I would say that the Gewehr 98 isn't very useful is even though I said it's very good at close quarters because of its hip fire, is Fort Dumont. Fort Dumont is, I find, terrible for most most of these slow bolt action guns, because you're so many people in close quarters, and your guy doesn't work the bolt fast enough for it to be useful. Yeah, and anything else on the history? Not really. I mean, it's 5 round stripper clip, 8mm Mauser, probably another one of the best rifle rounds ever made. It'll be 8mm Mauser, even though 8mm Mauser isn't actually 8mm. It's 7.92 by 57. I don't like your metric system. It's easier just calling it 30 cal. It is. It's actually, I think it's like a 30. Let's see how much. Oh, it's 324 in inches. 0.324 by. It's 324. We don't use by. Well, sometimes U.S. rifles before whenever they were black powder, and the Krag got this also, and some Winchester rounds and a whole bunch of they use a caliber and then a number, like 4570 is 45 caliber, 70 grains of powder. 70 powder. Yeah, that's just how it worked. I don't really have much to go over the Gewehr 98, so I'm trying to think of a conversation to go over for 20 minutes. I think it's 20 minutes. But yeah, it's just bog standard rifle. You know, just the only thing weird about it is the sights and its hipfire accuracy. I would love to have gotten some attrition gameplay or rifle deathmatch, but nobody plays those game modes, even though I like those game modes a lot more than the regular game mode. Like I said, I like the close quarters combat more. Because, yeah, I'm not good at the long range stuff like Zab and some other the good players are. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna end it here. So yeah, bye, and continue watching the rest of the footage if you like.